Hello friends, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be giving you guys my thoughts on a 7 Deadly Sins Origin tier list. We're going to be using the Origin DB website. All the weapons are on here, so I guess we'll go over each and every single one. My tier list, I'm going to be ranking I'm not just going to have one character in S tier, I'm going to have multiple in there because I truly believe that unless you're a P10 whale who's maxing out every character and can ignore burst mechanics by just speed running bosses through combined ultimates, I'm going to put a very high value on burst characters, right? Because for most of us, it's a core part of the gameplay. We have to burst bosses, so expect a lot of characters to be in S tier, and there's going to be some hot takes that you guys will probably not like about certain characters, so stay tuned for that. It's a tier list that's going to be my opinion solely from my experience with a lot of these characters. Leave me a comment down below, let me know what you disagreed with, what you agreed with. This is all going to be before the next patch 1.3 in a few days, which should bring us Clotho, the new event dungeon, Hammerheart Lady, and Abyss Spider, so that should be really cool. Alright, starting off we have Bug, and that's going to be a quick D tier for the axe, D tier for the dual blades, and I guess I'll put Book Bug in C tier, even though we're well past the point of, you know, cheesing him and Meliodas combined ulti. I think we're way beyond that, but just in case someone's like super new and like, you know, they want to combine ult with someone, I guess you could use Book Bug. But like I said, this guy was great in the first week or two, but after that, where no one uses this guy's not good, he's terrible, he's dog shit, so C tier for Book Bug. Next up we have Daisy. I mean, what can I say about Daisy, guys? She's one of the best heroes in the entire game. In my opinion, second only to Meliodas, but we'll get to him later. Sword and Shield, Daisy, I'll put her in S tier. She's the best Earth DPS in my opinion. I know that at later potentials, like Axe Deianne can be really good, but I think the same, you can say the same for Daisy. Like later potentials, she's absolutely crazy, right? Obviously that is for whales and stuff, but the option is there, of course. And obviously her adventure skill, incredibly broken, gives you free platinum every single day. I think before, the most platinum you could get in a day was between 9 to 12 ingots, depending on how lucky you got, whereas with Daisy that's been up to I think 15. You can get 15 platinum a day, so just by having her you get an extra 2 to 3 platinum a day, and over the course of a week that really does add up. So Lightning Daisy, best buffer in the game by far, not even close. The Q is Omega broken, the normal attack debuff, the electromagnet, Omega broken. For magic efficiency, spamming her E skill, especially when you have the potentials later on, you can just charge so much magic efficiency. That's why she's so OP in speedruns, right? A lot of the speedruns wouldn't be able to exist if it wasn't for Daisy. You press her E 4 times, you get so much magic for the combined ultimate later. You know, you can use her ultimate in a speedrun to decrease the boss's crit defense by so much just from that alone. It only costs 2 magic, so you know, and on top of that, the engraved, honestly the lightning engraved is more for the lightning team, but it's definitely still usable. Like it has its uses, especially funnily enough on the wind team, but I think I'll talk about that in another video. But there's an interaction with her engraved and the wind team, which is really cool. And finally we have Wind Daisy. I'm not gonna put her in S tier, I'll be honest. I'll put her in A tier just because of the fact that her Q is really annoying to use. If you haven't tried her out, when you press her Q you have to charge it, right, and she goes into like some, you know, give me all your energy spirit bomb type move, right, and you have to hold it down, and you get crit chance stacks for however long you hold it. It's cool, but it's just not very practical, you know. Technically you can charge it up at the start of a fight, like in Galand you can go in full charge it, get your crit chance, and it's cool, but once the buff falls off and you have to redo it, it's like really annoying to use. So I will drop her down in A tier. If her special was a bit more easy to use, I'd put her in S tier because she is really good on the wind team, like better than Lightning Daisy would be. I guess technically her wind engraved is better than the lightning one. That's the one that you're gonna use pretty much all the time because, you know, giving allies crit chance for free, like literally for free. You just give everyone crit chance. That's super OP. You know, reduce crit defense when you crit someone with reduced crit resist. Her engraved is super OP, but the usability of her special attack just makes me drop it down to A tier, but she's still very good, of course. Next up we have Axe Deianne. I'm gonna put her in A tier. She's a fine DPS, there's nothing wrong with her, you know. The only awkward thing about the Earth team right now is, to my knowledge, there is no other Earth burster, unless you're doing some whale shit and you're, you know, completely ignoring bursting and just doing combo ults, which is something that whales can do, you know, for speed running and stuff like that. But I think for the average player, burst is a real mechanic. You can't just ignore it. So I will put her in A tier. She's not better than Daisy, I'll be honest. Like, even if she's whaled out P10, you know, double damage breaker and all this good stuff, I still think she's worse. But as a general DPS, there's nothing wrong with her. Like, she's good, serviceable. Gauntlet Deianne, I will put her in S tier because, like I said, I'm pretty sure she's the only Earth burst we have, or at least the only real one, right? Like, there's fake bursters and then there's like real actual bursters. In terms of like the real bursters, she's technically one of the worst ones. Like, she doesn't burst that well, even if you know, take advantage of her passion effect, where you go Q, normal attack, Q, normal attack, Q, normal attack, and then you get 5 stacks, and you increase the burst gauge a lot when you're attacking. Still doesn't feel that great, like it's really slow. The only saving grace for her is that her cooldowns on the gauntlets are like really low, which I guess is nice. But she's still going to be S tier because, like I said, only real good earth burster. But other than that, and obviously I can't forget the ultimate. You know, if you have the engraved, you press the ultimate, you heal up. That stuff has been completely irrelevant this patch, because go and ult Galland, go and ult you know, Furs and Mines, go and ult like any content that isn't Abyss Gila or Abyss Augur, and you are gonna get destroyed. Her passive, like the engraved, the healing is not gonna save you, even if it's like level 3. You're gonna take too much damage. She can't tank. So you know, hopefully in the future when we get some more earth content, you know, we can abuse her engraved again. But this patch has been completely dead. Next up, Nunchuk Deianne. I'd like to put her in B, maybe even C, to be honest. She's basically a nothing character. Like, all she technically does is sustain you. If you attack like a bunch of times, you get this buff. I forgot what it's called, but basically you get a shield, and then whilst you have that shield active, you get continuously healed based on her defense. If the shield gets broken, you lose the healing effect. So you know, and there's really not much else in her kit that makes her like really useful. Technically, if you're like really down bad, your account doesn't have much, she can carry you, especially in the early game, or carry you in the sense that, you know, you don't have to worry about dying. But I think at this point in the game, for many people who are at endgame and such, I think C tier for the Nunchucks. She's just not very good. Now we have Great Sword Drake. I'll be honest, guys, I built this guy. This guy's a fraud, man. This guy's an absolute fraud. I built him. I used that special pick and mix set for him. You know, whoop-de-doo, crit damage, ult damage, all this stuff like that. This guy sucks, and it's really not the greatest because he's the only main lightning DPS we have. Merlin isn't coming for like 4 more weeks, so that's definitely gonna suck. And I do expect one of the time space 3 and 4 to be weak to lightning, so he's just not that great. The way his kit works, I know he gets better on with potentials, but it's like every character gets better on with potentials, you know. Just the way his kit works, it's not really satisfying gameplay, you know. He's like Fire Escanor, but just worse in every way. Just an ult merchant, really, you know. Build up King's magic stacks, reduce your cooldowns, and then hit a fat ultimate. It's like, yeah, it's cool, it's great, it works, but he's just not that good. I used him in Furzin. He does worse than Holy Escanor. He does worse than Holy King. So yeah, I do definitely feel like he's quite a fraud. So we'll put Drake Greatsword in the B tier. Staff Drake, I was debating to put him in the S tier, to be honest. In a situation where you do not have Daisy, I think he's S tier. If you do have Daisy, I think he's A tier, because on his staff spec, he's actually like a really good debuffer. Like he does a lot of good stuff for you, especially if you get the engraved for his staff. He will reduce crit resist and crit defense. It's just a bit awkward to use, because the best way to use him is to normal attack 3 times, apply 3 stacks of electric whatever the name is, 3 stacks of it, and then press your Q to apply the final 2 stacks, and that will max out both his passive to reduce crit defense and then his engraved passive to reduce crit resist. It's not as easy as Daisy just normal attacking the boss and then pressing Q and then you swap out and just get her engraved passive for free. He does require a bit more like use, like it's a bit more awkward. You have to go close to the boss. He's a melee character, but like I said, if you do not have Daisy, think of him as S tier. I'll be honest, like he's a really strong debuffer. He's A tier because he's just not as easy to use. Finally, we have Drake Longsword. He's supposed to be a burst character, which I find really weird, because why would you burst with this guy? Like, Gil Thunder exists. Like there's no reason to burst with this guy whatsoever. I've read the kit. I haven't used Longsword Drake because, like I said, I've had no reason to. I have Gil Thunder built out and stuff. He doesn't have an engraved for his longsword, so no extra burst efficiency there. And reading this kit, it just doesn't read very well. Like I said, I just don't see why you would use him. I might even drop him down to C tier, to be honest, because if you're gonna use a lightning burst, you're gonna use Gil Thunder, no doubt. You're not gonna use Drake. Even at higher potentials where he gets more burst efficiency from pulse, I still don't think he's that viable. Adrian, thankfully I have nothing to say. This guy is absolute dog shit, terrible, no point in using him. I don't know why you would use him. So next up, Dreyfus, another guy who I just don't think has much usability, to be honest. I think I remember some people were talking about him in the case of like speedruns. Like, apparently he builds up a lot of magic really quickly with his skills, but I mean, most, like 99% of the players don't speedrun. So I think for a tier list like this, I don't speedrun, you know, So I think there's just not much use to him. I mean, when it comes to when it comes to your daily farming, he's S tier for sure. Yeah, he's one shot in all the plat, all the gold, all the element bead stuff, all the other crystals, but I think general use he's D tier for sure. Now we move on to Elaine. Now Elaine, funnily enough, I'm not sure if I want to put her in S tier, to be honest. I think A tier is going to be fine. Technically, the way she works, if you have like the optimal team set up for her, she's kind of like longsword melee in the sense that you're resetting her E cooldown so much and you're just spamming E. The Q is terrible. Like, her Q is like one of the worst skills in the entire game, but I do think she's going to be a serviceable DPS. I do think she'll be fine. Do I think she's S tier? No. Like, she's currently the only win DPS we have, but with Clotho coming next update, she's meant to have a win DPS spec, even though it's not going to be fully supported. I could put her in S tier, but I want to be honest, I don't feel like it. I think her Q is terrible. Her kit is fine, it's just her Q is really bad to use and it feels terrible. Holy Elaine, I'll put her in B tier. Like, technically you can use her for like extra burst efficiency, even though puddle she puts on the floor for you to increase your burst efficiency is so fucking small that it's basically pointless, you know. It's like it's absurdly small, the little circle she puts down. Before they nerfed magic efficiency, she was like the GOAT for building it, because when you trigger a burst with Holy Elaine, she'll refund you like 4 magic points or something crazy. Like, she'll give you like half your magic back. Really good, but like I said, they've nerfed the magic charge and stuff. So I think B tier is fine. And Earth Elaine, I think tier is fine as well. Like, she provides a decent barrier, decent shield, nothing crazy, scales off her defense. I think she's a decent buffer for Earth as well, but like I said, nothing crazy about her. But I don't think she's A tier for sure. I don't think so. So I think B tier for both her other specs is fine. Gil Thunder, I'm gonna put Gil Thunder in S tier straight away, and he is absolutely insane, especially at P5. Obviously, I'm assuming you fully build out these characters, right? At P5, you know, you get a second charge of the E. At P10, you get a second charge of the Q. And this guy, you tag in, you get the shock buff, or you apply the shock debuff, and then his other skills just build so much burst. I think he's S tier for sure. The other two specs, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think you're ever gonna use them in any scenario, so D tier they go. Let's talk about Griamore. The only thing that's worth talking about this guy, funnily enough, is I don't know if you've read his passive, but it says when you land the normal skill on a stunned enemy, all allied heroes attack increases by 10% for 40 seconds. And I've seen people actually make use of this, especially in time-space junction, because obviously you can stun Marmus in stage 1, or sector 1 should I say, and you can stun the red demon in sector 2. So people have been running Griamore just to get a nice 10% attack buff to do as much damage to them as possible. So for literally that reason alone, it's very specific, you know, it's very niche. You have to stun a boss and then tag in Griamore and use his normal skill. But in a situation where you can do that, you could probably find some use for the gauntlets. But the other two are dog shit, so let's just put them in detail. Alright, next is Gila. The Lance, I haven't used this spec since like the first few hours of the game, I'm gonna be honest. But it revolves around giving her a crit chance and stuff. I just don't think it's very good, especially now with Escanor, to be honest. Yeah, I think she's C tier, like she's not really very good. Sword and shield Gila, however, I think very good. I think her shield is really nice, scales off max HP. You know, the engraved, reducing the cooldown of her E, which is the shield when she tags in. You can also craft the sword and shield that gives barrier efficiency, which I did. And I'll be honest, I used Gila in my my clear of sector 2. In my 3-star clear, I did use her just to tank a lot of damage, right, with the shield, so A tier for her. And Rapier Gila, S tier, best fire burst. Obviously the only other fire burst we have is Tristan, and he's absolute dog shit. So yeah, I mean, as you guys can see, I put a very high emphasis on burst characters, right? Good bursters are very important for me, so S tier she is. Hendrickson, another nothing burger character. I mean, obviously a lot of these characters are SR, so they're just not going to be very valuable. I know at the start of the game people are using him as like a healer, but like I said, we just have so many better options at this point. So yeah, D tier for him. Howzer. I'm going to put the gauntlets in A tier, just because you are going to use him in the win team. You know, his engraved is Omega broken, and the win team has a ton of crit chance, a ton of crit damage because of Elaine and Daisy and stuff, so he's definitely A tier because you will use him in the win team. But also gauntlets is the only spec that is actually like somewhat useful, because his passive in gauntlets is when an allied hero attacks a bleeding enemy, their win damage increases by 20%, and you have a chance to bleed the enemy with his engraved 50 to 70%, but it's still a chance, and technically it's guaranteed if you run Tristan in the team. but you don't want to run Tristan in the team because Clotho is coming out and she's going to be a 10 times better burst character than Tristan. Yeah, it's a bit weird, but Gauntlet Howzer, I do think he's an A tier. You know, I guess I can put the Lance in C tier because the special attack of Lance is quite nice. It can hit multiple enemies and stuff. The Nunchucks are just not good at all. They have no special effects or whatever. So Jericho, S tier for the dual swords. She bursts so damn fast, it's crazy. You know, I think in terms of speed, she is the fastest in the game, no doubt about it. Lance, I'll put her in C tier. I guess I could put her in B tier. She's like a decent sustain. Rapier Gila, Rapier Jericho. It's a bit weird because essentially we're not gonna know for quite a long time just how good she is because there's no other ice burst. It's only Jericho. Unless you're a whale who's P10 and attempting speedruns, you're not really going to be able to test out just how strong Jericho is. Not to mention, we still don't have the engraved for her rapier, so we don't know exactly how she plays out. But if you haven't read her rapier kit, she gives herself a bunch of crit chance and a bunch of stacking crit damage. So I assume in the future she might be like insanely strong. She might be better than Manny DPS for all we know. There's a lot of uncertainty about it, so I guess I'll just put her in B tier just to be safe. Next up we have King. Now I'm going to be honest, in one of my previous videos I said to not build this guy. I'm going to apologize. I'm going to say sorry. This guy is the best holy DPS. He's better than holy Escanor. He shreds sector 2 like absurd. I don't know, there's a speed run of sector 2 where the guy clears it in literally 24 seconds using King. My bad, King, I was wrong. You're the GOAT, you're the GOAT. I think I'll put him in C tier to be honest, and then Earth King, I'll put him in B tier. I'd actually put him in A tier if, and it's a big if you have him P5 is a huge difference. Like he gives so much buffs to the Earth team if he's P5. Because one of the effects on his skills changes from Forest Fairy to Forest King or whatever, and he ends up giving a bunch of extra earth damage. But I'll just assume that most people have him P4, so we'll leave him at beta. He's a good buffer for the earth team. Let's talk about Manny. So Staff Manny, Holy Manny, S tier, one of the better buffers in the game. Not the best, but one of the best. I mean, she was the best until Daisy came out, but that's besides the point. You do really want her P5 though to get the most out of the buffs, because otherwise at P4 you can technically just replace her for Slater, and Slater just ends up being a better buffer than her. But I do think she's S tier. Unfortunate that her engraved sucks. For the Holy Spec, it doesn't really do anything like debuff duration, efficiency, whoop-de freaking do. She's okay with Holy Escanor dot damage and stuff, but still the main use for her is the buffs and the fact that she charges so much magic. Like her magic charging efficiency is through the roof with her E and Q. Dual Sword Manny, I'll put her in B tier. She's not that great. Like she's again good on Holy Escanor's team because of dot damage, but I don't really think the dot team is really good per se. I mean, people did get use of her out of her in sector 2. And the engraved is okay, decreasing dot interval is okay, a little bit of cold attack is okay, but in general I don't think she's the greatest. And finally, Longsword Manny, DPS Manny. It's hard to tell because realistically next update she should get an engraved. Like, I mean, Clotho is an ice support in one of her specs, so she better get an engraved. From her kit, she's essentially, I think she's gonna be a normal attacker like Dual Sword Meliodas. I don't know. Like I said, it was the same thing for Rapier Jericho. These are both ice DPS. But with Jericho being the only ice burst, you can't really use her for the foreseeable future. And because we just don't know the direction that Manny's engraved is going to push her towards, because some engraved can be like super OP and change how the character works, whereas some else are just like some extra bonus effects. I'll put her in A tier just to give her the benefit of the doubt. Like, I really do hope her engraved is like super OP. But I very like, you know, next time I do a tier list I might just drop her down to B. We're finally here, the cream of the crop. The best, strongest, most OP character in the game, Meliodas. None of these are in order. Like, I'm not ordering them from like best to worst or anything, but for Meli I will just put him like right at the pinpoint, like at the top. If I could put an extra tier in this tier maker, which I don't think I can, I would put him in a tier above S. Like, he's just so above and beyond every other character in terms of damage. On Longsword, it's like not even close. Preferably at P5, so you don't have to press the Q, the special attack, twice for the Speedmaster buff. This guy is just absurd, man. This guy beats content that he doesn't even have, like, he doesn't have the advantage against. He can beat Galland, he can beat Sector 2, he can beat, you know, Abyss Gila. He just beats all the content, and I think it's gonna stay that way until they end up giving bosses some kind of passive that says like take less darkness damage, you know. I think it will have to be something like that. He's too strong, he does too much damage, he's the best character in the game, he doesn't care about advantage, he doesn't care, he just goes in. You know, you run a team full of debuffers, you run Manny, you run Howzer, you run Daisy, and you just nuke bosses. You get like, it's just too OP. Axe Meliodas, this guy is not great. I'll put him in B tier. Yeah, he's a very awkward design, I'll be honest, but B tier, like, I think he'll be like, he's decent. But it's like, you know, if you have the choice of longsword or axe, it's like, bro, it's not even close. And honestly, I'll say the same for dual sword. Like, literally, guys, unless your Meliodas is P4 somehow, some way, I don't even know how that's possible. Maybe you're saving up, maybe you're free to play. You can buy 2 dupes of him from the shop. They're there forever on everyone's account. Just get P5 and use longsword. Like, there's just no need. He's okay. Like, he did get a new engraved and it was cute. You know, it gives him some crit damage and stuff. Increases his crit chance, but it's like I said, it's just like, what's the point, guys? Longsword melee will double the damage of both of these specs combined. Like, it's just literally no point in using them unless you find them like really cool or something, right? Next up is Slater. Great sword, dog shit. Nunchucks, dog shit. He's meant to be a burst character, but he's like just such a terribly bad burst character that he's not even worth using. And then Axe Slater. I'm not gonna put him in S tier. P4, he's a better character than Manny for like debuffing. But Manny does generate a ton of magic and stuff, which is very useful. So I think for that, even though, like I said, he's technically a better debuffer than Manny, all she does is give 30% crit damage. He gives 30% crit damage plus 20% crit resistance. However, because of Daisy being a character and stuff, you know, and crit resistance, most bosses, if not all bosses, don't really have much crit resistance. They have a lot of crit defense. I wouldn't mind if you was to put him in S tier, to be honest, as like a really strong debuffer, but in my opinion, I think he's A tier. I think he's good, he's fine, he's great, he's serviceable, you know, you can run him. Next is Tior. Technically, she's like a fire buffer, but like a really shit one. But at least she does something, she's not completely useless, so I'll put her in C tier. Technically, she can do like some funny burst gauge shenanigans with like dropping the wall and stuff, but I just don't think it's very good. It's something you could try, but like I said, not very good. And the staff, the healing Tior, I was thinking about putting her in A tier, but I think I'll settle for B tier. Like, she's totally, like, she's serviceable, especially with the engraved. And if you have like a lot of dupes in her, because obviously she's an SR, you'll probably pull her quite a few times. She can actually heal you like pretty decently. I've seen a lot of people use her in my guild and stuff for sector 2, just in situations where you're taking a bunch of damage, but you don't want to run away from the boss, you want to stick on them and keep hitting them. You can just apply her healing zone and stand in it and heal up for, I think like some people are getting like 8,000 health per tick, which is honestly not that bad. But you know, I think in a game like this where a lot of your skill can dictate whether you need a sustain or not, I do think she's decent healer, right? So the penultimate character, we have Tristan, and bro, all I can say is I hate this guy so much. Like, dual swords, fire burst, like, bro, nah, fuck that. We got Gila for free. I'm putting him in D tier. This guy's terrible. He is so bad. I got baited. I made his engraved, and he's so bad that even with his engraved and the crafted burst efficiency set, he bursts slower than Rapier Gila with no engraved. That's how terrible he is. Even if you have his potential, you know, duped up, you know, you have that P7 potential, you give him crit chance, you reset the Q cooldown 2 times, he's just terrible. He's really bad. Like I said, I'll put him in D tier just because we got Gila for free. Everyone gets Gila. So if you need a fire burst, just run her instead. Do not build this guy. This guy's a fraud. He's terrible. Great sword. This guy dog shit. Yeah, this guy is meant to be a DPS, a fire DPS. Like, are you kidding me? Is it like, bro? I'm not having it now. Fire DPS, great sword Tristan, D tier. And wind Tristan, like, this guy still stinks, but I'll give him the slightest benefit of the doubt because Clotho. And finally we have Escanor. Now I'm gonna be 100% honest when I say this. I hate the playstyle of Axe Escanor. I really do not like it. I think he's just Drake but better. He's just an ult merchant. You're just getting max HP from his special weapon, you're getting max HP from his engraved, from his skills, from his passive, and then you just use that to do a big ult, like a big ult nuke, and that kind of gameplay is just not very fun to me whatsoever. There's nothing special about his Q. In fact, I don't even think his Q works. His Q is supposed to deal extra damage based on remaining HP, and every time you charge up the damn Q, you aura farm. I'm the one who stands above all, you charge it for like 10 seconds. The damage is very underwhelming, but he is still the best fire DPS that we have, so you know, it's not like any of this is in any order, but I guess I'll put him there. I don't think he's a better DPS than Daisy, no way. Even though, like I said, this isn't in order, I'll just put him there because I just don't like this guy's playstyle whatsoever. Holy Escanor, I will put him in A tier. He's good. He's not that great, to be honest, and he's actually kind of getting nerfed. Apparently he's bugged right now where his Cruel Sun, like the way it works, reducing the dot interval, apparently it works on other dots as well. So like pairing him with dual sword Manny, she could do like some really nice damage because you're reducing the interval with his Cruel Sun. They're nerfing that, so technically he's getting nerfed, but he's still fine. At least he provides a fresh playstyle, something different, you know, about dot damage. You can use Manny with him, either dual sword or Holy Manny. You can even run one of the Dreyfuses, I forgot which one it was, but one of them does also buff dot damage and stuff. It's like a cool little niche team. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Holy DPS, he's not better than King. This was debunked, confirmed. King is a better Holy DPS, so I think A tier is fine for Great Sword Escanor. And lastly, we have Sword and Shield. Technically, he is the best sustained character we have, even though I don't like the fact that his barriers scale off defense, which, as I said, it's much harder to have a lot of defense than it is to have a lot of HP. The only thing is he gets fire barriers base, whereas Gila gets fire barriers at P motherfucking 10. She gets the fire barriers at P10 and he gets it for free in his kit. I think that's kind of sad, but I mean it does just make him flat out the best sustained character for shields and stuff, because he actually puts on a shield that does damage as well, and it's not like little damage, it's actually pretty nice, decent damage as well. So yeah, there you go. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. I know this was a very long yap session. Sorry, I just tend to yap. I like to explain things. So but yeah, that'll be it. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Leave a like if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, and until then, I will see you guys next time. Take care.